You, who didn't believe in electrification and kept saying it was just a passing fad, take a look at this, my dear João de Larco. The best-selling car in Brazil today in retail among brand new vehicles is 100% electric. The BYD Dolphin Mini, which sells so much in the new car market that it's already quite popular, is also popular on the used car market. What about this unit here at Kavak?
Exactly, and it's a very interesting car for those who drive in the city because it costs very little per kilometer driven. After all, this car doesn't have such a big battery, it's around 40 kilowatts, but it brings some very interesting features. Like, for example, LED headlights. For example, look at this. It has a single gear. Yes, it's an entry-level popular car. The Fiat Uno had this too, but did it have LED headlights? No. So it mixes these solutions to keep the cost low, but also so you don't criticize too much in the comments. Things like alloy wheels, power adjustable seat.
I was about to say, am I giving another spoiler already? Another car that had a single gear was the Renault Kwid. The interior of the Dolphin Mini is like a Rolls-Royce compared to the Kwid. Last year, 80,000 fully electric cars were sold in Brazil. Almost half of them were Dolphin Minis. The Dolphin Mini alone sold almost 40,000 cars. That's almost half of this market.
Exactly, and honestly, it's a car with a well-designed look, right? It has that slightly more minivan vibe, but still, I wasn't really affected by the hate for this car's design. I think people accepted the Dolphin Mini pretty well, and at least here in São Paulo we see it a lot, right? The Dolphin Mini in Brasilia too. In cities where the charging network is already a reality, this car is really selling like hotcakes.
And it's really interesting, right? We're still getting used to certain aspects of electric cars. One of the things that shows why the Dolphin Mini has such generous space for its size, look at how small the powertrain is, right? How little space the electric motor takes up.
Yeah, it's a proven formula for it, and for models like the Fit too, right? Which had the cabin. Actually, the engine compartment here is a bit tighter to give more space to the cabin. Here it's 75 horsepower, 13.8 of torque. It might not seem like much on the spec sheet, but it's worth remembering. It's the instant torque of the electric motor, which we already know. But yes, the Dolphin Mini has a slightly more urban feel. The top speed is limited, and the 0 to 100 isn't that impressive.
But 15 seconds from 0 to 100, which might be a little surprising. Actually, because of the instant torque of the electric motor, right?
The 0 to 60, the 0 to 60.
The 0 to 60, the 20 to 60, right? It's a nimble car in city traffic and with a range of 280 kilometers. It allows you, to make round trips to Campinas, round trips to Santos, right? It's a car that can handle short road trips without needing to recharge.
It's also worth noting the charging power with sockets conveniently located at the front. Just park facing forward. At the parking spot too, 40 kilowatts of DC charging power, which is perfectly possible to find at any fast charging station for a 38 kilowatt hour battery. A quick lunch stop about 40 minutes already gives a good charge to its battery.
And this unit here from Kavak has only 23,000 kilometers. What's also interesting about electric cars, right? Electric cars don't need oil changes, don't need to change spark plugs. So, like,
belt.
There's no belt and a bunch of other things too. So, when you think a 20,000 kilometer electric car, 100% electric, it's newer, right? There's less maintenance to do than a regular car, an internal combustion car with the same mileage. So it's practically a brand new car, we could call it that.
Exactly. Want to learn more? Let's go.
Well, we mentioned Fiat Uno, we mentioned Renault Kwid. Inside, it's worlds apart. By the way, Fiat Uno or Renault Kwid? Wow. Did it have a screen that changed orientation, a 10-inch screen?
Quite the opposite, and actually, just to make a comparison, not a direct one, but drawing a parallel, did the Fiat Uno have a Marea steering wheel? Because this one here is the steering wheel from the model.
Exactly, the leather steering wheel. But it's not just about refinement and finish, it's really about technology, right? We're talking here, look, wireless charging and some features that are even inherent to the electric car, right? The entry-level car in Brazil, the cheapest one, for example, never had an automatic transmission, right? But the electric one does. The Dolphin Mini offers an interesting ergonomic solution, conveniently right at your fingertips.
By the way, there are several articles this month talking about it, right? The cheapest automatic car in Brazil was the Kwid E-Tech, 99,990 reais. But anyway, here we do have proper treatment for what we expect, in quotes, good fit and finish for a car in this category after all. Look, leather seats, there's some covering here that's not completely hard, it's just up here really, and also here on the doors. Anyway, there are some brains in here, right? Look, this air vent, if you point it down, you can cool your phone while it charges.
That's brilliant.
There's also screen mirroring here through the USB port, and there's USB-C for charging.
It's another feature, for example, that would have been considered, in the past a luxury item, but because of the car's own architecture. Digital climate control, right? The air conditioning controls are all here in this 10-inch screen, which is also a very good size.
And then you can have a quick menu here where you have, for example, access to energy management to set the regeneration setting when charging or discharging, and also the consumption. We have all the graphs here showing how you're driving, audio screen, lights, everything is here on this screen with good resolution, and everything is very well translated. I've had contact with other BYDs as well, and they got the translations right here on the screen. I've never had a problem with that.
Yeah, it's very easy to understand why the Dolphin Mini has become such a big success in the new car market, and obviously it's also becoming a hot commodity in the used car market as well. Driving modes are another luxury. Look, sport mode, normal mode, nothing over the top. If you look at the level of finish, technology, and equipment in this car, it's equivalent to a top-spec mid-size hatchback from 7 or 8 years ago. Golf TSI Highline. We're talking about roughly the same thing, obviously. The difference is the space here, right? We're a bit closer together at the elbows, but when it comes to carrying 4 people, man, the car is 3 meters and 78 centimeters long. It's 10 centimeters longer than the Kwid, for example.
Exactly. 6 airbags too, black roof. I like the solution here in the Dolphin Mini. I don't think it's anything out of this world. On the contrary, it actually has some very practical solutions.
So let's figure out the best way for you to get the Dolphin Mini in your garage here at Kavak in our final thoughts.
To wrap up our thoughts here, Casio Cortez. When I was a kid, we had a Corsa Wind in the family, and the little 2-door Corsa hatchback had 240 liters of trunk space, and that was never a problem back then. And now here we have a car with 230 liters, and my God, it's a huge fuss, right?
I actually think it's pretty good for the size of the car. Not just the trunk, right? If you take, for example, the new GR Yaris has 175 liters of trunk space, which is typical for a subcompact. It's not a traditional compact hatchback like the old Corsa Wind. Look here, compared to the external dimensions, right? The car has a pretty long wheelbase, right? The wheels are really at the edges. It fits here. Look, I can easily fit behind myself. Am I riding in total comfort like I would in a BYD Song Plus? No, but I do fit here also because...
But compared to the Kelta?
For sure, especially because it's a tall car, right? So you can use that height to give more leg room for the back seat. In short, it's a car that can meet the daily needs of a small family, a couple with a young child, that kind of thing.
Or if you're someone who just uses the car for your own commute, travels alone, and occasionally gives someone a ride anyway. That's not a problem. There's enough interior space here, and the trunk can also handle 2 or 3 small bags easily.
And the most important thing, right? With a growing number of BYDs, Dolphin Minis on the road, that should be plural, it's hard to get it right. Yeah, more than 50,000. It's a car that already holds its value well in the used car market. And when you talk about the used car market, the best option is going to be here at Kavak. Cars that are carefully inspected before going to the market. And like we said, an electric car with 20,000 kilometers is a very new car.
Exactly, with the advantage of bringing features that you won't find in many well-known combustion cars in our market like Onyx, Argo, Polo.
Yeah, in this price range of 100,000 Riez, it's hard to compete with the Dolphin Mini when it comes to fit and finish. So you already know, go to the Kavak website, download the Kavak app to check out your next electric favorite, or not, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and also follow Kavak on social media to stay up to date with all the news. Did you know Kavak Santo André just opened?
Yeah, I know. I've already been there too. It's easy to get to on Avenida Industrial 321. On Avenida Industrial number 600. Really well located. There's a mall right next to it too. It's worth checking out.
That's it. Thanks a lot. Please take good care of yourself and take care.